Hey, everybody. Welcome to October's State of the Real Estate Market Address. My name is Erica Despain. I'm the CEO and author of allthingsmadison.com, where we cover all things related to the community of Madison, Alabama. And every month we film this recording where we chat about all things real estate. So today we have Beau Miles with us. He's the owner and broker of Essential Real Estate. He is rocking and rolling in his second full year as the broker of Essential, and they have exploded in popularity because of the way they serve their realtors and their clients. We're also privileged to have Logan Hoffman. He's the branch manager for Hometown Lenders here in North Alabama, and these are the experts here. I'm personally interested in all things real estate. However, I'm not your expert. I've got these guys who are going to share with us why there's a little bit of meltdown in real estate right now. But if you are buying or selling or following the market, they're going to let you know objectively what's going on. So, hey, Beau, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us what's going on with real estate.
Yeah, let's go. Let's jump into stats like we always do. So let's give us our baseline. Last 30 days, Madison City only. That's what we're going to.
Yes.
So let's start with, I'm bringing in a couple new stats because I do want to talk to some of that panic here in a minute. And I think these stats will help us here. So we are going to go back and compare 2019 also. But if you compare today, if you go in there and say, actually, Erica makes fun of me, but I got to get the old man glasses on here. So as of this morning, there are 345 houses on the market. Last month, 316. Same time period, 2019, there were only 195. So we're going to come back to what that means in a couple minutes. One of the other things is contingent sold or pending homes. Same thing. As of today, 304. Last month, 320. Not a major difference. 180 in 2019. We're going to come back to some of that again too. And then I wanted to add in two more stats that I think are phenomenal, and I think Logan will be thankful, especially with one of them, what I'm going to bring up. Number one is days on the market. Everybody right now is saying like, oh, you can't sell a home, you can't sell a home, you can't sell a home. Y'all, we're still at 18 days on the market right now.
Okay.
That compared to in 2019, we were at 27 days on the market.
Okay.
So we're still moving houses quicker. And here's the stat I think Logan's going to like to be preached out and screamed out from the rooftops. In 2019, the average home price in Madison City was $279,219. Today, it's $353,892. Almost $75,000 in growth in 3 years. So the reason I want to bring that up is because people right now are going, interest rates. Oh my gosh, interest rates are so high. But your house is not going to be cheaper in 3 years when and if they go down. Does that make sense? Your houses, we are still gaining in value. With us having 345 houses on the market, we do have a little bit more supply. So now for me, I would look at my buyers and say, look, I know the rate isn't great. I'm not saying it's awesome. We are actually still under our long-time average, but it's not what we're used to. I'm telling my buyers right now, buy now and understand that your home, unless there is a major crash, which we do not see coming, unless there is a major crash, we will not see a major dip in prices. We're not going to gain $25,000 a year right now, but I do expect us to still gain 5, 10, 15,000, especially in the insulated Madison. And so I want to bring that up to say, hey, buyers, I know it's not the best rate. I know it feels crummy to get a 7 or a 6 or an 8, but your house is still going to be worth more, and you can refi that rate. We're already starting to talk about when they come down. I'm going to let Logan take over that. But Logan, what are you hearing? What are you seeing to tell me what you're seeing on the interest rate side?
Well, that's kind of touched a bit on a couple of the things you mentioned, but everybody wants to be in Madison City, right? So the values in Madison City are probably going to go up considerably anyway because of the school system, because of town mass and all this stuff that's going on out there, growth that's continuing to happen. So that's that. there's still going to be increased equity in your home, even if rates go back down. You just take advantage of it. But rates are probably in the mid sevens right now. I'd say across, Alabama. We don't really get into metros per se, but across Alabama, we're probably mid sevens on average. I'd say we're a little bit better than that, depending on your credit score. But we have to get creative. So you talked about the more homes on the market, well, that gives the buyer a little bit more power. And so we're seeing seller concessions come into play a whole lot more, whereas, last year and the year before, it was astronomical amounts offered over asking price. And, you're still paying all the closing costs or whatever, you want to call it. Whereas now you may be getting a 7.5% quote, but you can get 1 or 2% offered in on seller concessions and buy that rate down. We have a product called a 2-to-1 buy down. Everybody's advertising it right now, where you pay, and we may have hinted at this last time. I don't remember for sure, but it's even more prevalent now, where you pay a full percentage point less in year one, or 2 percentage points less in year one, 1 percentage point less in year two, and then you go up to the note rate, where we're expecting rates to drop back down, before that time frame, and you can refinance out of it.
Interesting.
So, it goes back to date the rate, marry the house, right? Like, you've always got to keep in mind that if this is the house that you want and you find it and you can get it and it's going to not, we would never advise somebody to put themselves in harm's way. No. House, right? It's not the goal. The goal is to get you in a house that you love, and if you feel like you love it, we'll work on everything we can on our end. But we'll still be there, 6 months from now, poking you, saying, hey, the rates have gone down, let's get you in a better position.
Hey, Logan, question for you. When we purchased our home, summer of 21, we were real antsy to lock in our rate. So we paid $800, I think, to lock in our rate that would, because we weren't sure when we were closing, right? Is that something that you advise people do? Are people still being advised to lock in rates because of fear it's going to go up even higher? What are you guys doing with rate locks?
I think we have a 90-day lock shop.
Okay.
That doesn't require anything up front, but then there's also extended lock options where you pay an upfront fee for anything 120 days and then all the way up to a year. That's money that has to be given up front. It's as your closing costs. So it's technically buying those points up front and then, add it to the discount. But it's dependent on the person, right? Like, it's always different. There's some people, we get updates every single day, and we're either told to advise people to lock or advise people to float. I have carefully floated a lot of locks lately, unless somebody is just adamant, hey, I don't care if it's going to be 8%. I want you to lock me in for this and guarantee that it's not going to go any higher. Because most of those long-term options do have a float down that you can do within 30 days. And so that is there, but you only get it one time. So if we lock you in at 8 and they drop down to 7.5, and you're like, oh, I want that 7.5, I can't change it the next time, right? If they drop down to 6. Whereas if you wait and they drop down to 6, well, then I can lock you in at that 6, and you're better off. Everything is pointing to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It seems a little bit like a guessing game, But do you feel like it's a guessing game, or as a professional, do you feel like there is a little bit of an art that you can help guide people to a decision that will be the best for them?
Well, it's past history, right? So, by all intents and purposes, this is scary word. That's right. And historically, mortgage rates have gone down during a recession because the recession usually keeps inflation from going up. So, 6 months from now, if we are in a full-blown recession, I hope we're not, they'll probably be lower. And you can still afford to buy a house or be in a better position to buy a house. But if the rates are lower, people are still working, the prices are probably not going to be much higher in 6 months. You'll still be able to afford a house in 6 months.
Hey, Beau, how are your sellers doing? Are your sellers discouraged? Because your initial stats show that things are a little hairy, increasingly hairy for sellers. How are your sellers doing?
So a couple things to that. Number one, we are in a school-based city. As you know, I know you're friends with Dr. Nichols, and we have a mutual friend who's a principal, and like everything in Madison runs over the schools, runs through them dead on.
Number one system in the state.
Number one, exactly. And so because of that, this time of year, not a lot of people are moving a kid out of it. So we try to, one, explain that, and two, the answer to your question is, how are the sellers? Most of the time they're fine. And I'm going to beat a dead horse again. You have to find a good real estate agent who's not afraid to tell you the truth about what the market is doing. You have to make sure that if you have somebody right now, anybody who can hear me right now, if you have an agent going, I'll sell your house this weekend, don't worry about it. You need a new agent. You need a new agent. I'm sorry. You need a new agent. I know that's probably wrong to say, but we can't promise anything right now. But what we can say is, here's how we market it. Here's how we take care of it. Here's how we make sure everybody knows your property is there. Here's what we do in these moments. And so what we do is, to help the seller's nerves, is we tell them, hey, look, you can expect 20 days, not 4. You can expect an offer under. Logan's right. Like, we are now telling our sellers, you're probably going to be asked for some closing costs or to help buy down their rate. You're going to be asked for it. But our prices of our houses they're going up slower now than they were going, just because of demand. But they're still climbing. And so because of that, I'm telling my sellers, like, hey, take a breath. You're going to actually have to negotiate now. The price is not take it or leave it. The price is we work through it and we get the deal across the table with you. And so we just try to keep those nerves calm, because the truth is, anything can happen. Anything will happen. It's not what it was a year ago, but that's okay. I prefer this market. I'll be completely honest with you. I prefer it because I get to work more with clients, negotiate, get better deals, do those things. And so I'm telling my sellers and buyers, like, this is where having a strong agent is so important, that we can actually get this to actually happen, and happen in the right way that is best for everybody.
If you're a first-time home buyer, you want a house, Logan, when should they reach out to you? They've never done this process before. They're in the dark about what's going on. At what point should they reach out to you to start discussing the idea of buying a home? Interesting. Okay.
Just because we can have a new buyer consult just like an agent can.
Okay.
And usually if we can do that, depending on who their agent ends up being, we of course can recommend some good agents, but we can give that agent a heads up. And so if they're a little bit more educated going into the full buying process, and we do our part, we do the agent's part, that's their job, they're the best at it, right? Then it helps everybody involved. And there's no unrealistic expectations that can be set by going and seeing a house that they may not be able to afford, or things of that nature. So if we get them first and get them pre-qualified and work through that, it doesn't put us under the gun either, right? So a lot of times they go out there, a house they want it like that, because they're still selling quick.
Yeah.
Especially, usually the first-time home buyers in that 300 range or a little less. And I'd say they're probably not sitting as long as the 500 to 700,000 houses.
Very much.
So just being able to have that conversation and get them prepared up front on our end, and all that jazz, makes a huge difference in the experience, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. Beau, a final piece of advice for people who are waist deep in real estate right now, whether they're a buyer or seller. It's a hard time. Any time, regardless if it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, anytime you buy or sell, it is an emotional, difficult experience. What is your number one just piece of encouragement or advice for those that this is their reality right now?
It goes back to what I've talked about a lot. The Mark Twain quote of "reports of my death are greatly over-exaggerated." I guess my one piece of advice is breathe. Real estate was here in 2000 during a recession. We caused it in 2008. We are where we are today, and real estate is still here. This job doesn't go anywhere. Real estate's not going anywhere. Breathe. And if you are not comfortable if you are not comfortable with your rate and your payments and the amount of the house and this and that and this and that, don't let anybody tell you you have to be. Yes, there is an adage that the best day to buy real estate was yesterday. The second best day is today and the worst day is tomorrow. That is an old adage, but I will tell you right now, make the decision that's right for your family. Breathe and know that that house, you might lose, but there will be another one, and then there will be another one, and you'll be in the right place at the right time. You'll know what to do. So breathe is what I'm telling everybody. And the sky isn't falling. It's not over. We're still selling houses like crazy. I'm still sending commission checks to my agents like crazy. We are still going hard and fast in the paint. So just breathe and know that everything is going to be fine. It's not a problem right now. Just there's a lot of national talk of big scary monsters under the bed. There's no scary monsters under the bed here. Not right now. There could be one day, but not right now.
And Logan, I know your office is hopping too. You guys haven't slowed down. Things are rocking and rolling. Well, hey guys, we could talk all day, but if you've watched this in entirety and this is your reality, Logan and Beau are here to continue the conversation. So I'm going to put their email addresses here in the bio. Reach out to them. There is no question that's a silly question. They are the experts. They are there to share with you and answer every single question that you have to make this process, wherever you're at in it, something seamless for you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure having you. And if you've watched this, thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See y'all.